Imagine a young woman sinking beneath cold, dark water. Her lungs fill with silence. Her heart stops. For 30 long minutes there is no breath, no pulse, no sound of life. Doctors call it impossible. Science calls it death. But what happened next defied every law of medicine. In that silent moment between life and death, something powerful happened. A voice broke through the darkness. It was calm, yet filled with authority. And it said, "Your time is not over." This is the true story of a woman who drowned for 30 minutes and came back to life after hearing the voice of God. It is a story that will make even the strongest heart tremble and remind the world that miracles still happen. Before we begin, remember the words written in Luke 1:37, "For with God nothing shall be impossible." Her name was Anna Thompson, a 32-year-old woman who lived in a quiet town near a large frozen lake. She was a nurse, a wife, and a mother of 2 little children. She loved helping others, but deep inside, she was struggling with something she never shared. Her faith had grown cold. She believed in God but had begun to doubt if He still heard her prayers. One winter afternoon the sky was heavy with snow. Anna decided to take a walk near the lake after work. The ice shimmered under the fading sun, and the air was calm. She saw a group of children playing on the frozen surface. Their laughter echoed across the empty field. But then, one of the children fell through the ice. Without hesitation, Anna ran toward the sound of screams. She dropped her bag and ran onto the frozen lake. The cold wind cut her face, but she did not care. She reached out her hand to pull the child up, but the ice cracked beneath her. In one instant, the frozen sheet gave way and she was swallowed by the icy water. The lake was dark and heavy. The cold pierced her body like 1,000 needles. She tried to swim, but her clothes pulled her down. The light above her faded, and panic filled her chest. She could hear nothing but the rush of her own heartbeat slowing down. Then everything went black. Rescuers arrived minutes later, breaking the ice to pull her out. By the time they reached her, Anna had no pulse. Her body was stiff and pale. Paramedics worked desperately, pressing on her chest, forcing air into her lungs. They rushed her to the hospital. But 30 minutes had already passed since her heart stopped. Doctors surrounded her body, trying everything they could. They shocked her heart again and again. No response. The monitor stayed flat. The room was filled with the quiet sound of machines and the whispers of disbelief. One doctor finally said the words no one wanted to hear. "There is nothing more we can do." But while her body lay lifeless, something else was happening, something far beyond human sight. Anna later described that moment as being surrounded by deep silence. She was not in pain. She was not afraid. She felt herself floating in a place that had no time. There was no cold, no darkness, only stillness. Then in that stillness, she saw a soft light ahead of her. It was not blinding, but gentle, like the sun behind a cloud. She began to move toward it, not with her feet, but with her being. Every part of her felt peace, a peace that no words could ever describe. But just as she reached the light, she heard a voice. It was not loud, but it carried power. It said, "Anna, it is not your time yet." She stopped. The light paused. Then the voice said again, "Go back. Tell them I am real. Tell them I still hear." And at that moment she felt a sudden pull, like a rushing wind, pulling her backward through darkness. She gasped for air. Back in the hospital room, a nurse screamed. The heart monitor began to beep. Anna's chest lifted and she took a deep breath. Everyone in the room froze in shock. She had been without a pulse for over 30 minutes, yet she was alive. The doctors could not explain what happened. They checked her brain, expecting damage from the long lack of oxygen. But to their surprise, her brain was completely normal. She could speak, she could remember, and she could move. The medical report described it as a spontaneous return of circulation, but the staff could not stop talking about the moment they saw her open her eyes. Many of them wept quietly, calling it a miracle. Anna later shared her story on national television. When asked what she remembered most, she said, "It was not the light, it was the voice that said, 'I still hear.'" She said that from that day on, she no longer doubted God's presence. She prayed with a new heart, full of fire and gratitude. Her family said she became a different person, calm, kind, and deeply peaceful. She began visiting hospitals, praying for others who were close to death, telling them that even when the body stops, God is still near. She quoted Psalm 34:18, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Her words touched many lives. Some who had lost faith began to pray again. Some doctors said they couldn't explain it, but they couldn't deny what they saw with their own eyes. Months later, Anna returned to the same frozen lake where she nearly died. The ice had melted, and the water moved gently under the sunlight. She stood there quietly, whispering a prayer of thanks. She said, "I was gone for 30 minutes, but God brought me back to remind the world that He still speaks." In an interview, she said something that stayed with everyone who heard it. "When you lose everything, your breath, your body, your time, God remains. He does not shout, He whispers, and if you listen, you will hear Him say, 'I am still here.'" Her story spread across nations. Churches shared it in sermons. Hospitals used it as a case of medical mystery, but for those who believe, it was never a mystery. It was a message. Anna said she no longer fears death because she has seen what lies beyond it. She described that place not as a dream, but as the truest form of reality. She said it was filled with love so strong that it cannot be described in words. Every sound, every light, every breath was filled with peace. She ended every speech she gave with these words from John 11:25. Jesus said, "I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die." Today, Anna continues to share her story in churches and online. Her message is simple. Faith is not about never falling. Faith is about knowing that even in the deepest waters, God still sees you. Doctors said her heart should have been damaged. Science said she should have been gone forever. But God said, "Live." And so she lived. Every time she tells her story, she remembers the calm voice that saved her. She remembers that moment when heaven touched earth. And she reminds the world, miracles are not just stories of the past. They still happen today. For with God, nothing shall be impossible. Anna's life became living proof that God still moves when hope is gone. Her 30 minutes of death turned into a lifetime of purpose. She no longer asks why she survived. She simply says, "I was sent back for a reason, to remind people that prayer still works and that heaven is real." Her words echo through hearts everywhere. When your world falls silent, God still speaks. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey of faith. If this story moved you, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more true stories that inspire hope.